Hello, I'm Jennifer Spencer with Spencer Properties with another episode of Keeping You in the Know. The topic I wanted to address today is one that sellers ask us a lot, which is, what is it going to cost me to sell my house? And basically, how much am I going to walk away from this transaction with in my pocket? So we want to talk with you about your seller net. First thing is, when you're planning to put your house on the market, you do need to have funds allocated to get the house ready to sell. And there's two parts to this. There's cosmetic updates, and then there's maintenance. The cosmetic updates are going to be things like fresh paint, fresh flooring, that may be refinishing hardwoods or replacing carpet, maybe updated hardware depending on the age of your home, maybe updated countertops if they are dated, and possibly updated appliances. So the cost of paint can be $1,000 to $3,000, flooring between $1,000 and $3,000, hardware between $100 and $300, countertops $1,000 to $3,000 depending on the size of the home, appliances $1,000 to $3,000. And I know you can spend a whole lot more on these things than the numbers I'm giving you, but we use contractors regularly that we've got the pricing pretty lean to get these things done. So you may question my pricing on that, but I think we could get those prices for you. So you're looking at anywhere between $100,000 to $12,000 to get a house ready for market from a cosmetic standpoint. Most people spend somewhere in the range of $3,000 to $6,000. Now, this is an important thing to think about when you're considering whether to do cosmetic updates. Don't do it unless you're going to get at least 2 to 3 times what you spent on those updates back in the sale price. But I will tell you, a home that has been updated cosmetically will typically sell for about 5 to 10% more than a home that's dated. So that can be pretty significant. So if you were to spend $10,000 on a $500,000 home and now it's worth $550,000 versus $500,000, that's a good return on investment. But that's how we're going to evaluate all of these situations. The second piece is deferred maintenance, and that's almost non-negotiable. Really, at every price point, buyers want a house that is move-in ready, so they don't want to walk into a project unless you're willing to deeply discount the house. So if there's any way possible that you can get the repairs done that are needed on the house prior to putting it on the market, I really do recommend that you do that. And I will tell you, most people, when it comes to deferred maintenance, are spending anywhere from $100,000 to $10,000 if they haven't done much over the years that they've had the house. Now, once you're under contract and you have a buyer, they're going to inspect the property and present you with some requests for repairs. I don't care how great you've cared for your home, how well maintained it is. The inspector is paid to find things that are wrong with the house, and they will. And then the buyers will come to you and ask you to make repairs. And those repairs are generally going to be somewhere around $500 to $3,000. If I look at all the contracts over 20 some years, that's where they end up the bulk of the time. Now, there's outliers where there's no repairs or more than $3,000, but that gives you generally a good idea to gauge what you're going to spend, assuming that you did all the maintenance on the front end. Now, the closing table is where you will have some more expenses. That's when you'll pay us, your real estate agent, our commission. And from that commission, we pay the buyer agent who brought the buyer for that property. You'll also pay the attorney a few $100s. You'll pay your deed stamp tax, which is $2 per thousand. So on a $500,000 house, you would pay $1,000 in deed stamp tax. You'll pay your prorated taxes. So if you sell your house in June, you would pay for the months that you own the home. So you'd pay half of your real estate taxes, your property taxes, and you will also pay any HOA dues that have not been paid up until that point. And if you escrow for insurance and taxes, you will get that money refunded to you after closing within 30 days. So that gives you a pretty good idea of what you're looking at in terms of expenses. The best thing to do if you're thinking about putting your house on the market is to ask us to prepare a seller net sheet for you that will lay out exactly what you would end up netting at the end of the day. We can do that at any point during the process for you. And if you're even a few years out like we are, we're planning to sell our house when all of our children leave home. It's kind of a good idea to even know now, what would I be looking at in terms of what I will net several years down the road. I mean, it's a projection, but it's still nice to have that number. So we're happy to prepare a seller net sheet for you to let you know exactly what that looks like. So I hope this answered some questions about what you're going to be looking at in terms of expenses when you sell your home. And I appreciate you for joining us again for another episode of Keeping You in the Know.